What I believe right now is the agency game is changing faster than ever before. Like there was at least 2 decades where basically you'd build a website, you do some SEO, you put some tracking in place, you could charge a healthy monthly fee for that. Clients would sign up, they would stick around long term. But just type change, if you're seeing a lot of change happen in the industry with ChatGPT, with Claude, with Search Atlas, with all these AI tools and innovations coming down the track, it's a different world, right? And what your clients expect is different. And how you're gonna position yourself as an agency has to evolve and has to change. And some of you guys may or may not know, I run an agency called Plumbing and HVAC SEO that does, it's about $7 million per year, and it's going well. And we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to land clients. And it'd be really easy to be like, oh, you know what? We don't really need to change that much. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And like, how many of you have heard that adage just like me? If it's not broken, don't fix it. Let's just hope that everything continues the way that it always has. Here's the problem with taking that approach to life and business. There's been a lot of examples of companies that were the 100-pound gorilla. They were crushing it within their industry, and think they had all the financial resources. They should have had people that were looking forward and looking at how the industry and things were changing, but they didn't. So you just think about Blockbuster, right? Blockbuster Video there was one of these retail locations on every single city across America. And if you wanted to rent a video, you went to Blockbuster. It was a multi-billion-dollar company, and things changed, right? What happened, right? Streaming became available. People no longer wanted to use DVDs and VHSs, and it shifted to online streaming. And Blockbuster knew it. They started to invest in it. They just didn't move quick enough. They didn't make adjustments. They didn't start to reduce their overhead at all of these retail locations, and Netflix ate their lunch. And some of you guys are very familiar with the story. Some of you guys, this might be like, what is Blockbuster Video? I've never even heard of it type of thing. But that's the reality of what can happen. And there's other examples. Kodak, right? Kodak invented the digital camera, but they were so entrenched in their old way of capturing images. They didn't want the digital photography thing to take off. And like, that was like their demise. And so I'm saying these examples because the industry is changing. The way we run our agencies are changing. What our clients expect from us is changing, and we can choose to ignore it and hope that everything is okay, or we can really make sure that we innovate, make sure that we're on the cutting edge, make sure that we're adjusting to meet the market where it's at, more importantly, where it's going. And I think the only way that you can be aware of those types of changes, the only way that you can be on the cutting edge is if you plug into live, up-to-date trainings and events, right? You got to be in the room where these conversations are happening, and then not only hear the information, but adjust the way that you approach the business and the business model. And really, that's why I want to invite you to join me in Miami. The event is called our Seven-Figure Agency Roadmap Live Plus Member Intensive. And it's going to be in downtown Miami, beautiful location at the JW Marquee. We're going to spend 3 full days. One day with just basically with me unpacking the 7-figure agency model updated for where I think things are headed. And then 2 days with our 7-figure agency members, hearing from some of the best and the brightest and some of the top experts in digital marketing and really where things are headed. And so if you're available, you'd like to participate and you qualify, you're invited to attend, right? It's all you have to do is pay for your own hotel, pay for your own flight. And we are excited to host you in Miami. And so you can get all the details by going to 7figureagents.com/roadmap-live. You can register there. We will want to schedule a quick meeting with you just to make sure it's a good fit, make sure you're clear on what the expectations are and how you can plug in and get the most value. But yeah, Henry just dropped the link at 7figureagents.com/roadmap-live. And so one of the key things when it comes to how things are shifting and how things are adapting, I wanted to try and get who I thought was like some of the top thought leaders on how this stuff works. And I'm a big fan of going back over 10 years of Marcus Sheridan. Marcus Sheridan is the author of They Ask You Answer and his newest book, Endless Customers, which is an updated version on They Ask You Answer for the AI world. I'm not sure if you just type Marcus in the comments here if you've ever heard of him or if you've studied his work. but this is the latest book, Endless Customers. And so Marcus's backstory is he had a pool company called Riverside Pools, and he was almost out of business. And at that time, almost like 20 years ago, he started to embrace digital marketing. And he embraced digital marketing in a different way. Following, if you've ever read Inbound Marketing, the guys from HubSpot, their whole strategy was, let's put out great content, let's create great videos, and get clients to come to us pre-positioned to buy. Love inbound marketing. But he took that and he like boiled it down to be relevant online, you've got to put out content that answers the most common questions people are asking. Very simple concept. And he grew his pool company to hundreds of millions of dollars per year. And then he published the book. And in home services and in digital marketing, he's one of the godfathers of this is how you do digital marketing right. And so I asked him not to come and just talk about endless customers and how we should leverage that concept for our clients, but really, since he's worked with so many companies and he's really a thought leader in this space, to talk about how to future-proof your agency, right? And how to really think not where things are now or like 12 months from now, but if you want to have your agency set up to be relevant 5 years from now, a decade from now, how should you be positioning? How should you be thinking? What types of strategies and resources should you be putting in place? And so that's one of the key sessions from the intensive that I think is going to be super powerful, that you're going to want to participate in, even just to hear the brilliance of Marcus Sheridan. And then I'm a big student of AI, and I'm reading all of the books that are coming out on AI, automation. We recently had Geoff Woods, the author of AI-Driven Leadership, speak to our community. We've had Jonathan Mast as one of our members, who's really a brilliant AI strategist. But Tony Ricketts runs a multiple seven-figure agency serving the landscaping industry. And he's very unique in that he's a great marketer. He's very successful in the digital marketing agency space, but he also comes from a coding background. Like he literally was more of a coder, a SaaS type of guy. And over the last 3 years has gone into the deep end of AI, not just using ChatGPT and Claude, but figuring out how to code and how to understand where things are headed. And I asked Tony to come in and unpack how to leverage AI like a boss, specifically for your agency. Because there's tons of information obscure about how do I use AI in general, but getting really specific to how that applies to the agency model in terms of how we build websites, how we create content, how we set up social profiles, how we syndicate content more effectively so that we can generate better results for our clients, and so that we can simplify our delivery, so that we can improve our margins, we can improve our efficiency, and really be the best in class agency that we want to be for the clients that we serve. And so that's going to be another really good session from the intensive that you're going to want to hear from. And then we've got a lot of the top agencies in the country, literally in various verticals, from restaurant marketing to home service, like home moving companies, to deck building companies, to legal and everything in between. But we asked a couple of our Titan members, so these are members doing multiple seven figures on their way to 8 figures or beyond, and asked them, like, when you look at your growth strategy right now, how you're getting appointments, how you're getting sales, how you're growing the business, what's moving the needle for you right now? What's working best? And so, that growth panel is going to do just that. They're going to come up, they're going to say, hey, here's the play. And really one of the things we do at Seven Figure Agency really well is make sure that we're not just teaching theory, but we're teaching, here's exactly what we did, exactly how it works for us. And here's an exact step-by-step swipe and deploy that you can put in place in your agency. And so that's going to be the growth panel. We've got a lot of other stuff we're covering, but I just wanted to give you big picture when it comes to the intensive, like what types of topics we're going to be covering that'll be relevant for you growing and scaling your agency. Give me a one in the chat if any of that sounds interesting, exciting, relevant, useful to you as you think about where you're at in your business right now. A couple of ones coming in. Excellent. And then we're going to do a next key hire, right? I'm really all about when we think about growing and scaling our agencies, regardless of if we're in the struggle phase or in the scale phase or in the Titan phase, there's 3 things we all want. More money, right? So we have the money to pay the bills, to live as our lifestyle. more freedom. So we have the flexibility not to work 60 hours a week, but we've got the flexibility to take the travels, to spend the time with the family, to do the things that light us up, to do the things we really want to do. Like type freedom, if that's really, at the end of the day, we all want more money, but if you're not free, who cares? You got a lot of money sitting in a bank account you can't do anything with. Type free, if one of the reasons you started your agency was so that you could eventually call the shots, so that you could eventually take those travels and be there with the family. I know for me, that was like a massive key driver. And we want to make sure that we're creating freedom in our business model and then impact, right? We're actually serving our clients. We're delivering really good results. Our clients are winning. Our team is winning. And if that's what we want to do, if we want to have more freedom, we want to create that scale, we got to know how to build the team, right? We got to figure out as the company grows, who do we need to hire next? How do we put that right person in place? And so we're gonna have a deep dive session on day 2 around what are the 4 key hires that you're going to need within your agency, and then do an exercise to figure out what that next hire is for you. And then we're going to open it up with a panel, which I think is really exciting because a lot of the agencies in the program have hired the salesperson, have hired the account manager, have hired the operations director, and all of these different roles that you're going to want to hire for. And we're going to ask them to share, okay, how did you find the person? What was the job posting like? What did you do in order to onboard them and make sure that you got the right candidate and you got them off the ground really well? And what were some of the lessons that you learned? So you're thinking about scaling the business and creating more freedom for yourself. The session is going to be really powerful. So again, we want to be on the cutting edge. We want to make sure we're keeping ourselves relevant as the agency game shifts. And we want to be around other really successful people. And that's what we do at the 7-Figure Agency Roadmap Live and Intensive. If you haven't registered yet and you want to participate, we just dropped the link. It's 7figureagency.com/roadmap live. There's 2 components to it. So day 1 is going to be the 7-Figure Agency Roadmap Live. And so that's going to be me teaching you the new and improved 7-Figure Agency model to grow it to $1 million or add an additional $1 million over the next 2 years. So that's just all teach with my best ideas, best strategies, best swipe and deploys. I just got this back from the printer, so I want to pull it out for you guys. This is the workbook that we're going to go through. I literally went through every single page of this and updated and modified it for this intensive. And so this is going to be not just me teaching, but you working, you thinking, you going through exercises, you making decisions, you building the framework to have accelerated growth in your agency. And so that's day 1, right? And you're going to walk away super clear on what the model is and what the path is. And then those next 2 days are with our 7-Figure Agency members. So we're paying mastermind members and community members coming together to share best practices, to share ideas, and to really make sure we're all moving forward in terms of how we land clients, deliver results, retain the clients that we have, and scale our agencies. So again, 7figureagency.com/roadmap live. And if you've got any questions about this, go ahead and drop it into the chat. I know today's format's a little bit different than what we do on these Thursday sessions, but really excited about this. I want to make sure you know what it is, when it is, what's going to be happening, and make sure you're clear, is this going to be worth my time or not worth my time? I really believe you become an average of the 12 people that you hang out with most. Just like 12, if you've ever heard that. And if you don't have a world-class peer group, by default, you're going to become an average of those people that you spend time with. And most of us, unfortunately, we don't have a world-class peer group, right? We've got our friends, we've got our team members, we've got maybe our family, and some of them are awesome people and they're great people, but they're not people that are like doing what we want to accomplish, that are really like driving their lives forward. And one of the best components of coming to the 7-Figure Agency Roadmap Live and Intensive is you get to plug in to this world-class peer group of some of the top agencies in the country. I'll just share some of the stats just so you know. There's 356 active members in 7-Figure Agency now. 155 of them do over 7 figures per year. 33 do multiple 7 figures, which means they're doing multiple millions of dollars per year. The average revenue in the community is $87,000 in monthly recurring. So this isn't an entry-level group. It's not a starter group. And all combined, we as a community, if you combine all of the revenue, it's over $295 million per year. So again, if we want to level up our standard, we need to be in the room with people that are doing big things. And so that's the peer group that you're going to get to plug into when you come. So again, July 7th through 9th in Miami, Florida. You can register by going to sevenfigureagency.com/roadmap-live. We'd love to have you. We've got great content, great conversation, great energy. I'm just going to answer for rapid fire the questions I've been seeing about this. Feel free to interject your questions into the chat. But when is it? So it's July 7th through 9th in Miami, Florida. So that's a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If you happen to be Titan level, which I believe somebody mentioned they are, you're invited to stick around on Thursday as well, which is the mastermind only day, a little bit different format, but we'd love to have you participate in that. Just let the team know, hey, I'm actually Titan level, and we'll get you the specific link for it. Awesome. All right, so what's covered? This I could spend a lot of time on, and I don't want to spend too much time, but I do want to give you an idea of what you can expect. Again, day one is going to be me unpacking the new seven-figure agency model, right? Which is the key way you want to package your offering, the way that you want to position yourself, the business model fundamentals that has now been proven to have over 154 other agencies grow to seven figures, in addition to mine, which now does over $7 million per year. We'll talk about the ultimate agency funnel, which is how do we get clients on a consistent basis. One of the biggest struggles I hear from agency owners is I could do the digital marketing stuff, but for some reason, I just can't get consistent deal flow. And so we'll walk you through how to set up your funnel to get clients to come to you pre-positioned to buy. And then I'll walk you through the client attraction method, which I believe is a completely different approach to landing clients. And I'm going to walk you through it and give you the step-by-step on how you can deploy a strategy to get clients to look at you as an expert, to perceive your value in advance. And then when they meet with you, they're looking at you as the expert and they're willing to pay a premium rate versus you having to chase them down. I will also talk you through the cold outreach formula, which at the beginning, some of you guys are at that $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month range. We're going to have to do more than just inbound, right? We're going to have to do some outbound approach as well. And when we do this right, we can get the list, we can capture their attention, we can plant seeds for future opportunities, and we get the right people that are interested right now to raise their hand and express interest. So we'll walk you through really how to get your model set up correctly and how to land clients on a consistent basis. From there, we're going to shift to retention, because if you can't retain the clients, then you don't actually have a business, right? You have a client grabbing machine. What we want to be able to do is land clients, deliver world-class results, retain those clients long-term, and then scale, put the systems, procedure, and team in place so we don't have to do it all ourselves. And so there's some very specific things you can do in terms of the way you kick off the relationship, in the way that you pulse with the client, and the way that you simplify your reporting that can have a huge impact on your client retention. And then we'll talk about how to scale, right? Which, in order to create the freedom that we're after, we can't do it all ourselves. As a matter of fact, we shouldn't be doing much of it ourselves. We've got to figure out how do we put the team, the systems, and the procedures in place so that the business can continue to grow, the clients can continue to get served, and you don't necessarily have to do it all or any of it, right? As a matter of fact, if you look at my agency, Plumbing and HVAC SEO, did $7 million last year. My personal time involvement is a couple hours a week. I'm part of the leadership team meeting on Wednesdays. I still do the webinars every single month. I'm the face of the organization, but there's a world-class team behind it that runs the day-to-day. So I don't personally have to be involved. And so that gives me the freedom to run seven-figure agency, which is now a multiple seven-figure coaching business, and take time to do the things I want to do. Just this last week, I was gone for an entire week, unplugged from both businesses at Epic Universe with my kids, because I've got 3 kids. I've got a 3-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And I want to spend as much time as I can with them during this age, because I'm very conscious that they're only going to be this age for a little bit of time. And eventually they're going to get bigger. And even though I'll have all kinds of money to do anything I want, I will have missed that opportunity. And so I'm so grateful that I have the businesses structured in a way that I can do that, right? And still have these companies grow. I had a record month for us in May, this past month, thanks to Alex and Esteban and Henry and the team that you see on the call. But that's possible because we put the systems in place to scale. Just like scale, that's an aspiration for you. Like you can feel like, I know I'm going to deliver world-class results, and I know I've got the right team in place to get it done. And I think if you came to the intensive and you just walked away with that, it would be worth every minute that you're going to invest at the event. And so that's what we cover at the Roadmap Live. That's day one. That's building the entire model to grow to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures and beyond. And so if that sounds good, go to 7figureagency.com/roadmap-live. We will double check the link in case anybody's having issues with the confirmation process. The next question I get a lot of the time is, why would that be free? You're going to give me $1 million model that's been proven, that works well. You're going to walk me through a multiple 100-page workbook. Why would it be free? And it's free because we found this is the best way to get the right type of people into our world, the right type of people that are going to be a good fit for the community, that are going to be a good fit for the coaching. Obviously, on the other side of the event, we've got ongoing coaching, we've got ongoing support, we've got ongoing resources that are available. And so there's a lot of ways to sell these types of coaching programs, right? You could do a lot of one-to-ones, you could try and hard sell people, or you can just give massive value in advance. You can prove that you're a person of value. You can bring them into a community that they want to be a part of and make it a no-brainer. And yes, it's free. However, if you like what we're teaching and you want to be part of it and you see how it's going to be a critical driver for you to continue to grow and continue to scale and to continue to accomplish your goals, yes, there's an opportunity to get involved at a much higher level. Who will be attending? This is another good question. Who's going to be there? What can I expect? It's going to be probably about 200 to 300 of the top digital marketing agency owners from across the country. A lot of our 7-figure agency members that have done really great things over the years. A couple that you may have heard the story of, may or not. Jim Aline from Roofer Marketers is going to be there. He's one of our members that started at like $5,000 a month of recurring revenue, and over the span of about 5 years, grew to over $550,000 in monthly recurring revenue, serving the roofing niche, following the exact model that we're going to be teaching at Roadmap Live, and has since sold that agency to the big CRM in his space. Right, so Home Services represented. Austin Hauser from Base Coat Marketing runs a really great agency serving painting contractors from across the country. Grew from zero to $90,000 per year in monthly recurring revenue in the first year, and is now doing over $190,000 in monthly recurring at this point. Chris Rodriguez, who works with dojos. Jen and Kelsey Outram, who work with auto repair shops. Tony Ricketts, who works with landscaping companies. Josh Konigsberg, who works with law firms. So most of the agencies are niche-focused agencies that are selling a monthly recurring package similar to what we're going to show you exactly how to do in the 7-figure agency. And as an average, are doing over $83,000 in monthly recurring. We're running 7-figure digital marketing agencies. It's a very unique community. Why do I have to go live? Right here we are on Zoom, and we're all like living in a Zoom world. That's, oh man, why can't you just teach me this stuff on Zoom? Why wouldn't we just do it that way? What I could tell you is I love Zoom. We do Zoom sessions like this every single week, and we teach information. Something powerful happens when we're live and in person, right? When we get outside of our little comfort zone, outside of our little desk at the office. When we're live and in person, first of all, we're out of our normal environment. So our energy shifts. Secondly, we're able to really focus, because when you're in the room and you're hearing information and you're having conversations, you can immerse yourself in information and take what might have taken maybe even weeks or months or years to learn on Zoom, and just immerse yourself in it because you have undivided focus. But then the most important thing is the power of being around other people that are doing this day in and day out. People that are driving, people that are accomplishing things, people that have done what you're looking to accomplish. The energy that you plug into, you can't really quantify it, but it has a massive impact. And when you attend live and you experience that energy, you'll understand this can't really be replicated in virtual. I need to be there live. I need to have that experience. And as I look over the years at the hundreds of agencies now that have gone to seven figures, the ones that have had the quickest growth, the ones that have become our success stories and our case studies are the ones that come live, the ones that commit to plug in, the ones that are there focused, learning, but also the ones that are having great conversations during the breaks, that are developing relationships that carry on. And so that's why this is a live experience. That's why we can't just say, hey, let's just do it on Zoom and maybe that will cut it, because it just doesn't have the same impact. So type live in the chat if that tracks for you and if that makes sense. The next one is why is it 3 days? Man, that feels like a lot of time. I got a lot of different things going on. 3 days is a long time. The reality is 3 days gives us enough time to unpack the roadmap live and really give you the strong foundation. And then 2 days with our seven-figure agency member community, sharing ideas, sharing best practices, hearing from world-class experts. And day one is predominantly around growth. How do we land more clients? How do we get more appointments? How do we continue to grow the business? Day two is more around systems. How do we deliver better results for the clients we have? What are the changes in digital marketing, websites, SEO, pay-per-click? How do we hire and scale operationally? And so to get all of those insights, it's 3 days. But I'm going to tell you the way that we structure it is you're going to walk away with massive clarity. You're going to walk away with great energy. You're going to walk away inspired. You're going to walk away with new relationships and new ideas. But you're also going to end that third day with a very clear plan. Here's my vision for the next 12 months and how I'm going to get there. Here's my goals for the next 3 months and exactly what it's going to be, exactly the projects that have to be put in place, exactly the KPIs you're going to hold yourself to, and accountability behind that. Which, if you look at coaching programs, it's very unique in that so many of our members move forward from one quarter to the next. So many of our members have started from low levels and have gone to seven figures and multiple seven figures. And I really think that going deep for 3 days and walking out with a very clear action plan is one of the key drivers of that. So if you haven't registered yet, and this sounds interesting to you, it's sevenfigureagents.com/roadmap-live, sevenfigureagents.com/roadmap-live, and get yourself registered.